Welcome to the Beginner Photography Podcast, and today we see the future of editing, and it is AI. So let's get into it.
Welcome to the Beginner Photography Podcast with Raymond Hatfield, the podcast dedicated to helping you grow your photography skills. Raymond interviews the world's top photographers in their field to ask questions that will get you taking better photos today. Now, with you as always, husband, father, home brewer, LA Dodger fan, and Indianapolis wedding photographer, Raymond Hatfield.
Welcome back to today's episode of the podcast. As always, I am your host, Raymond Hatfield, and I am so excited for you to be here. I truly appreciate you and, checking out what it is that we have to share today. So today is actually a podcast episode that will be one that I look forward to hearing in, 5 to 7 years' time, when the powers of AI and machine learning are in just about everything that we use as photographers. Because today, what we're going to talk about is really the first step into the future. So a little backstory, Skylum is a company, and they are the makers of the popular photo editor called Luminar. And they're getting ready to release Luminar 4, which actually they're not getting ready to release. It comes out today, which it actually makes a huge leap forward by focusing on AI to speed up your editing and expand your creative possibilities. So today, I'm going to be talking with the Chief Technical Officer of Skylum, and which is the creator of Luminar. And, we just talk about everything that Luminar can do. So if you're listening to this right now, you may be thinking to yourself that AI in photography is cheating, or maybe you have concerns about privacy. And these are things that we tackle in this interview because these issues are my concerns as well, so your concerns are my concerns. So, hold on and get ready for this interview. But first, I want to give a huge shout out to both Bobby and Tyler for leaving the podcast a review in iTunes. Now, Bobby said in his review that he loved everything that Chris Owens shared back when I interviewed him back in episode 159. And that was a fantastic episode. If you don't remember, Chris Owens is the lead photographer of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which shoots the Indianapolis 500. And he really gets into the logistics of what it takes to shoot such a sporting event. So go back and check that one out. Again, that's episode 159. And Tyler is one of the few listeners who I have had the pleasure of meeting in person, and it has just been fantastic to see his photography grow as much as it has. It's cool to see because he's going places. So really awesome, both of them, for leaving a review. So again, thank you both so much. You each have an everlasting place in my heart for your kindness, honestly. I cannot properly explain how grateful I am to everyone who has left the podcast a review. So again, Bobby, Tyler, thank you. Now, before I start tearing up over here, there's one last thing that I want to clarify, which we actually didn't get to in the interview, which is that many new photographers, don't want to make the commitment of a monthly subscription for editing software like Adobe Lightroom or Photoshop. And I get that. If you're just not shooting a ton right now, then I wouldn't want to pay for it either. But I asked and confirmed that Luminar 4, the program that we're going to talk about today, is a one-time purchase and not a monthly subscription. Now, on top of that, I think it's super reasonably priced as it is, especially for how powerful it is. And on top of that, I actually have a code after the interview for you to use, which will save you even more money and make it a no-brainer. So stay tuned after the interview for that code. Okay, let's go ahead and get into today's interview with Dima Sytnik. Today's guest is Dima Sytnik, the Chief Technical Officer of Skylum, a company behind the photo editing software Luminar. With their newest release, Luminar 4, they promise to save you time when editing by using AI to assist in the editing process. This is going to be quite an episode. Dima, thank you so much for coming on the Beginner Photography podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate, and I will be glad to answer all your questions and help your audience seeing bigger pictures of what we are doing and about photography. And I am glad to share all my ideas and thoughts on this.
This is exciting. This is like a whole new world when it comes to photography by using AI and just seeing the opportunity that the future has. Now, I know that some photographers are going to have specific questions about, whether or not that still legitimizes them as a photographer. And we're going to get into this deep because I've had some time to play around with the software and I got my own personal questions to ask you. But before we get to those, can you tell the audience a little bit about how Skylum got started in photography?
Oh, it's actually a long story because I started Skylum with my friend Paul. But before Skylum, I was a developer in a small computer game company. So we created computer games and we not been like hired. We do it for fun. So I got a lot of background of in the image processing and 3D mathematics. And we started to create small games for iPhone when iOS got the ability to create own apps actually, and we was one of the first companies, and we use name like MacFun in the beginning, and but just creating small games was not enough for me, and we started looking around and see what kind of other cool thing we can do, and we started to create small apps for image processing. We was among one of the first apps with the special effects for iOS actually, and this app was called FX Photo Studio, but the first name was like 100 photo filters. So that's true. Our competitive advantage was to create 100 different photo filters, and it was quite popular at the time. But slowly we start to grow. I mean, code base will get bigger and bigger, and we was really interested into the like high quality image processing because at the time mobile photography was so childish, and we moved to the desktop actually because I'm not just interested into in the engineering, but I was interested in the photography, and I was really curious what new we can do for photographers, and we started to create more advanced software for desktop. We created a fixed photo studio for desktop, then we created Creative Kit, then we slowly moved to the Luminar, and actually right now where we are. So we changed the name to Skylum when we got released a Windows version because name MacFun was a little bit cheesy for them, and like we were really aiming for the business oriented companies, so we can do some kind of business things. But with this name it was a little bit tricky, so like for future, like it's a bad idea to include name of other company or best product of other company into your company name. That's advice for guys. But at the time we think just about as fast as possible to register a new company to start making games for mobile. It was like so that it was done in 2 days, and name was the last thing that I think about. So and right now we actually pretty big company, more than 140 people, and we're really focused on the new technologies in the image processing, and we move from mobile to desktop. It's quite opposite from other companies, but at the moment actually we take a look to bring our latest technologies and the high quality image processing to the back to the mobile, because it just grown up from the time we started significantly, and our goal is to provide advanced and essential tools for everyone who actually interested in photo editing, no matter what kind of they want to use our technologies.
I think it's funny that the last thing that you thought about was the name, because for a lot of times photographers, that's the very first thing that they think about, and then they worry about the photography side second. They're so worried about the name and getting it right. It's great to see that obviously the name isn't as important as the technology or the product behind the name. So that's definitely a lesson for photographers to take. Now, I have had the opportunity to test out your newest offering, Luminar 4, for a few days now. The big selling point of Luminar 4 is that it's using AI to help in the editing process. So before we talk about how AI is being used to edit photos, can you tell me, I guess, give me a good explanation of what exactly is AI?
So that's quite simple. If like I can like say about like Luminar, actually all filters named with AI means the result of their work will depend on the content of your images, like they content aware. So actually other tools without AI name, they can be very complex and very cool. I don't underestimate them, and I don't over evaluate AI tools, but they work same way on every single photo. But AI tools are different. They take a look at your photo, they automatically adjust possible ranges for image to keep it like real. They actually change their work based on the image content. And under AI tools, I understand set of different algorithms which can do this thing. They have a combination of machine learning technologies to do image recognizing, but and segmentation and enhancement. But in most cases, it's like a really combination with the AI. Machine learning technologies and classical algorithms with some kind of decision trees. So they quite complex, and it's not like marketing term as like other people think. No, we're actually thinking about how we can change the way how people edit photos, take out the boring stuff, and bring new abilities for most of the customers to achieve great results in a simple way. It's quite like complex process, but I think this is actually the most important thing that we are doing within the software, because at the moment there is a lot of different photo editing software or image editing, and actually they're pretty same. Right now they compete with actual interfaces. There's hundreds of them on mobile phones, on the desktops, and only what they're doing is they rub the same shadows, highlights, curves, contrast in the different user interfaces. We don't want to be same, and we just got focused on AI like in the last maybe 3 years, and most of the technologies that we got right now is just been released. Actually, they was in development like for 2 years, because we set the bar quite high for us, and they will continue to be improved. Actually, it's first release. I not always happy with all cases, but I know it's our direction, and we got step by step most of our tools that right now exist in the Luminar will be converted to the AI tools. And but there is still a lot of different tools without AI. And they're great, but not all tools should be based on AI. But if AI can benefit customers to save time on masking, brushing, or something like this, that's actually what we're trying to do.
I see. So AI is becoming is scanning the photo, becoming aware of what it is looking at, and then based on that, it makes decisions to help enhance the photo in a way that is pleasing, I suppose. Is that
yes,
pretty accurate?
Right. So they're pretty accurate. So first, what we do is like trying to figure out what kind of results photographers want to achieve. We talk with the photographers and see like what are their like workflows, what kind of things actually they do with images, what kind of results they think it's great, what kind of result they think it's not that good, and we're trying to figure out what steps can be automated with the AI, and we use AI in different steps of this like image editing workflow. And it's, I think, like AI stuff is not about like just to remove the creativity or like transform photography from something else. Actually, it's just the way how to simplify workflows, and actually that's either you are creator, photographers are creator. Everything starts with idea, and like if you can achieve these results in a simpler way, that's great. And it's like how we get ideas from like different O tool. That's pretty simple. A lot of people like complaining that Luminar doesn't have like smart brush. Let's say we want a smart brush, we want a smart brush. That's okay. I really appreciate it. We still don't have some a lot of tool that people asking, and for me that's completely okay. So I got a lot of complaints about this, and we do research, and I say, okay, why do you need smart brush? What do you want to achieve with this? And most of the people said like we wanted to enhance sky or replace sky, and we came up first with a sky enhancement tool. You don't need to brush, just with one slider enhance it. And second tool, the sky replacement. So when people ask us about feature, we're trying to ask why do you need this? In most cases, first answer is not actually what people want to achieve. It's just the way they think it will be able to help them achieve result actually. And we want to think deeper and deeper, and we wanted to simplify and automate this process, because I think like we want to make road from the idea to the end result as simple as possible.
And
And
totally makes sense.
And actually we just get started. What we have right now in Luminar is just the very beginning. We're working on different things right now, and they will be released later on. And not as like an advertisement, but like I think next year we'll bring at least 2 features as a free updates for Luminar for customers, because we want to move faster. Because we want to bring more value, and because we want to differentiate us from other software. Interface will be a little bit changed, but the way we think photographers will benefit. That's why we don't want to have any kind of comparison between us and other software. We are different. And if people like try and say, oh, we want to find like Lightroom without subscription or something like this, that's definitely not where we're going. So we wanted to replace all that stuff with the completely different processes. In most cases, if people want to just to escape subscription, they want exact replica of the old workflow, and to use it in other software, but they don't want to pay subscription. In my perspective, like other software, like Lightroom is a great piece of software, and it's super cheap, and it's not that expensive, and we don't want to implement old way how people actually edit photos. Our goal is to reinvent how people will edit photos. We want to make their life simpler and easier, and bring ability to be creatives for much wider audience than actually right now. Because I see a lot of like boring tutorials for 4 hours and hours how they can achieve some kind of results, and people can spend a lot of time learning this, and they like but I want to bring this like superpowers to end customers with the new technologies, because I think like new technologies should solve problems, not create them. So for us, is not technology is actually final result. For us, final result is the great results that people will be able to achieve with the technologies. That's quite tricky, but I see that we can achieve and do a lot of different great things here. And Luminar is a tool. You can use it, or some tools inside Luminar, or you can all you stay with older tools. That's completely okay. That's a tool set for creative persons, for creative photographers of the next century. That's what we want to build with the Luminar.
Sure. And that again, that totally makes sense. But you brought up two things that I really want to actually brought up three things that I really want to get into. The first, talking about how you want Luminar to not be in direct competition to other photo editors, but be its own entity, something that doesn't have any competition. So, aside from AI, or maybe not aside from AI, I mean that's a really big selling point. But what makes Luminar different than other photo editors, like fundamentally?
So that's quite wide question.
Yeah.
Actually, there is a two difference where we now and where we're going. Actually, we are not there where we want to be actually, and we don't think you mentioned competition. Actually, we don't want to be different just to be different.
Sure.
We just want to focus on the end user needs. And when you think about like who are your competitor and over care about like feature parity or such a things, like you just stuck in that kind of limitations for your brain, and you will be just limited by competition. We're thinking about how we can benefit end customers with the new thing that we can produce. Our core values here is a simplicity and ability to achieve awesome results in a simple way. I prefer something which will be pure and clear and don't have too much different options, because in most cases these options should be solved with the AI tools. And some people say even like we are too simple for them. That's completely okay. Even we saw some educators, they say like, we saw Luminar and we can use it, actually we can work with it because it's nothing to learn. I think great. So actually we're doing our job really good, because I want to create such a kind of tool that everybody can use without like spending hours and hours with learning different tutorials. I want to create something that will be very easy but very powerful with high quality results.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually our core values. And for sure we think about like a simplification, improving user experience, and we want to simplify and automate as much as possible things that actually people are doing in Luminar. And we do a lot of right now customer surveys, user researches, and we introduce some kind of like surveys for our customers so they can say how they use and how they can benefit with the new technology. So that's the actually for me it's just very beginning of the big road, and we're gonna move this, and that's why I'm pretty confident that we will introduce this two new AI technologies next year. I know AI is like very marketing thing, but like we just got no other great indication of smart filters that will work differently on each photo. So it's like hiring somebody, and sometimes you may say it's not what I expect in here. Like if you move, for example, like in the classical way structure, on the right you see a very HDR like result, and you apply it to every photo. In the batch processing, you'll get all of them will be over crunched and like, oh my gosh, you may like it. But with the AI structure, it's very smart. On some images it automatically enhances more details, but if there is no important detail that can be extracted, the result will be very subtle. Some of the people may be a little bit upset, but our goal is like to solve problems, to make images high quality, stop people to make different shitty images. I'm sorry. So that's kind of limitation, but it's like it's like you hired like professional retoucher, and and he will tell you, no guy, just please stop doing this thing, make it subtle, make it high quality. You got more likes even with this result. So AI sometimes may stop you for doing some things, but again, that's why we use AI. It's not marketing thing. It's indication for users that these filters and technologies will decide by their own how they will retouch this image.
Yeah, I love how after using Luminar 4, one thing that you said there was very clear how simple the interface is. And at first, I almost was like waiting for more. At first, I was like looking for things. I was like, well, where's this? Where's that? Where am I missing things? But as time went on, as I was using the program more and more, I realized, oh, I don't actually, need these same tools in the same way that I was before. And the layout that is there is very clean. It's very simple, and yet I could still achieve fantastic results. And like you were saying, it saves me time, which is great. Specifically, with this whole AI sky replacement, this is one of the coolest features, right? And this is, I shared a video of me using it on Instagram last week, and the response was incredible. I made a quick poll, like, would you use this? Would you not use this? 90% of users said that they would absolutely use it. Having replaced the sky in photos that I've taken before in Photoshop, this is something that, depending on trees and foliage and stuff, could take 20, 30 minutes per image, and then the results look good. But in Luminar 4, I was able to, click AI sky replacement. I clicked dramatic sky 4, and it was done. 2 clicks. Brand new sky. So for those who are trying to get an idea of what this is, can you share where you got the idea for AI sky replacement, what it is, and are you supposed to be using it for every photo or just a select few?
Oh, great. So basically, I explained you how we came up with the idea of sky replacement. So we got a lot of questions about new features, and people ask all the time about smart brush, and we figure out that actually they need this smart brush to achieve some kind of results. They don't need smart brush just to have it. They need this smart brush to enhance sky in most cases and replace sky. So we came up with this new technology. It was like very complex, and it's more than any other technologies. Good thing about this, we finally got it pretty fast, and it's all non-destructive. So that's a huge difference. You can change your mind. Original file is not touched actually, and you can change all the adjustments in real time. And basically, that's a pretty powerful technology. And replacing sky is just the part of story. Relighting and working with the transparent and semi-transparent objects is actually even the biggest part of it. And we just get started, and the final version will have even much more improved technology for sky replacement, in which you will be able to convert like daylight photo to the night light with the night skies. You can try it. I'm not sure. I'm sure your version is what's not able, but we will include even some night sky so you can play around and create some magical creations.
That's gonna be cool.
And
wow.
That's pretty big. And basically, that's for every creative person. I personally love to travel, and I have a lot of different photos. I love photography, landscape photography, like cityscape. But weather is unpredictable. Sometimes you just climb the mountain and see just pale sky and then or gray sky, and I say, oh my gosh, that's not that good. Or for example, sometimes your camera has not enough dynamic range, and you just get blown out sky, and even HDR and shadows highlights will not help to solve this problem. So for me, it's a great tool to enhance image and improve sky. Story about to use it or not to use it's up to you. It's a tool, and everyone can use it and be it's inside personal restrictions or personal philosophy. If you don't want to replace sky, not problem at all. But my opinion is everyone cheating, everyone wanna get the great results. For example, if you buy a great lens with a bokeh and take a photo, actually it's a cheating. No one will see this image in real life because you cheated with the hardware. Or long exposure, for example, you cheat with the hardware too. And where is restriction, where you start cheat and what is the reality? So in most cases, it's already there. Even Ansel Adams is very famous photographer. Most of his photos actually was enhanced with dodge and burn, and he was it in all processes, and it was there for years. I somebody told me that on the beginning of photography, it was a question to crop or not to crop. Somebody told like cropping is like fake technology, but right now it's widely acceptable. And like saying about sky replacement, for example, yeah, you have a bad sky, but what if you take this sky, the one that you want to replace with, like 1 hour before? Is it fake or not? People say maybe no, that because same location, 1 hour before. What if you take this sky 24 hours? Is it fake or not? So that there's no limitation. If you want to be creative person and the result is great, why not? For me, no. A lot of people just against sky replacement because they saw too much bad and low quality sky replacement. And our goal was to create something which will be as real as possible. And it's up to you what kind of sky we want to use. In most cases, if you want to achieve completely real results, you should use sky roughly from the same period of time. If you took a like sunset and sunrise, use skies from like this time frame,
Yeah.
the new ones. Or if it's a daylight photo, use a time frame from that period of time. Yes, you can do crazy things like daylight to night light, but again, a lot of people who are very, very like strict about the quality, they may see some difference or signs that it's changed. But in most cases, if your goal to like bring more likes on Instagram, nobody will see it. I can promise you.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is having used it, you mentioned like poor sky replacement, photos where people have just done poor sky replacement. They just take out the sky and then they put in a new sky, different time of day, different, location. They just look terrible. And yet that's what I was expecting. That's what I was expecting at a Luminar 4, but that is not what I got at all. I chose a photo that was of a bride that I had, and it was kind of like near sunset-ish, but when I clicked on one of the dramatic skies, I think I picked a sunset sky. And what I found was that not only did it do a fantastic job replacing the sky behind, little patches of trees and being able to see behind that, but it changed the rest of the image. Like it updated the rest of the image. It was a little bit warmer, there was a little more contrast, and suddenly the image that I was looking at looked as if it came out of my camera. It didn't just replace the sky, even if it was a different exposure, different contrast, different time of day, but it updated the rest of the image to appear much more natural. And that is something that I have questions about, because when it comes to AI, I kind of also want to talk about privacy, right? When I think AI, and I could be wrong here because I'm not a chief technical officer like yourself, so I'm hoping that you could help out here. When I think AI, I think big servers, lots of data. When we talk about AI, does this mean that our photos are being uploaded to some cloud somewhere and being analyzed before the decisions are coming back to us?
No. Actually, we're a small company. We don't have a billions at the moment for a cloud server, so we have to be clever and process everything on your local machine. It's super simple. Actually, what are you using at your local machine? It's pre-trained models. So we train models, we train this like neural networks, and you using ready-to-use technologies, and we update them constantly with the software updates. But to train them, yes, we're really using big servers. We collect data. We use with the guys who do training. So they do some marking. So they do some segmentation. We train AI to understand what kind of different transparencies, what kind of different skies there is, what kind of result we want to achieve. There's a lot of different neural networks, and we use hundreds of thousands images. Actually, some of them is bought as a data set from stock. Some of them downloaded freely from internet. Some of them was provided from our customers or from our photographers that we're working with. Actually, we don't use any of your photos to train models. We can only ask somebody if they face some problems. So we'll be there able to provide us some kind of these images. But a local machine requires just actually had to have a like pre-trained model to work with actually, and that's super simple. It's super private and secure for customers. And but the downside of this, you should have like better machines. And like
Yeah.
somebody might say like Luminar is like slower than Lightroom. Yes, because it depends on AI, and we really need a lot of memory, like 16 gigs. So our technical requirements is much higher than like other software like Polar or something like this. But in the end of the day, you still get the results faster. Like for example, if you do portrait retouch, you can synchronize among like whole photo session. Just go and drink, tea or coffee. What do you want? And when you get back, you get the results, and it's solved like 90 or 70% of what actually you wanna do. Yeah, it's slower, but I think we still have a lot of room for improvements, and we're working closely with the actually Intel, and they're really excited about our technologies. So they need something that can use their hardware as much as possible, because they want to build more powerful machines. But at the moment, most of the software trying to work just in the cloud, so
Yes.
nobody need like more advanced machines. But we're a little bit different kind of software, and once computers will just get faster, you got the faster result. But again, I completely appreciate that we have some problems with performance, and we will solve them, because the quality and the performance is one of our major goal for next quarter after release of Luminar 4. And there is a lot of room for improvements even right now, even on your local machine, and we can make it much faster. But that's why we don't need any competition, and don't like any comparison, because you just can't compare the AI technologies with the classic old one technologies. And the way we actually design Luminar right now, it's actually we clean up all the mess, and we prepared to bring much more new AI tools there. It may seem like a little bit empty, but that's actually what we're gonna do in the future. We wanna fill it with awesome creative tools, and everyone can benefit from this.
So, just to clarify, when it comes to the privacy of the photos that we have on our computers, our photos are not being uploaded, and
No.
Luminar 4 is making these AI decisions based on hundreds of thousands of photos that you have analyzed on your end, made decisions, and then put it in the software itself, so that when it comes to a computer, nothing gets uploaded. It just makes that decision right there on the computer. It doesn't go anywhere.
Absolutely right.
Gotcha,
Actually,
okay.
that's true.
That's genius. That is really smart. And as you said earlier, there have been complaints about, Luminar 4 seeming to be slow. And I think at first I felt the same way, like, oh, this is a little slow. But as you just said right there, for the results that you're getting, it's still faster to wait that extra half second than it would be to, change 4 or 5 more sliders and go into a tone curve or something within, another editing program. It's still faster to wait for Luminar 4 to finish what it's doing and fix it. So maybe it's just a perception thing, because obviously more is going on in the background than it is with other image editing software. So that's really interesting and a good way to look at it, because again, I really think that the results that came out of the images that I put in were fantastic. In very few clicks, it was eye-opening, and it was very, very fun just to play around with. And one of the photos that I was working on was a portrait, because obviously, AI sky replacement is going to be great for landscapes. It's going to be great for some environmental photos, even at weddings. But I also wanted to test portraits. Portraits are very important to a lot of photographers, not just wedding photographers, engagement photographers, fashion photographers. but portraits kind of require a different skill set. So I know that Luminar 4 is using AI to help in the process of working on portraits as well. So what are some common issues that most photographers face when it comes to portraits, and what needs worked on in the editing side?
So basically, with the portrait tools, we investigate how portrait photographers actually are using their tools to achieve results, and what they think that what kind of result they appreciate to be a great result. So we get focused on this. And first of all, we get rid of all tools like to manually pick eyes, mouth, face, and everything. So AI solves problem of face selection at the moment. It automatically detects all human skin, because some of like other very old software, they just, when they say about skin enhancement, they mean just the face. Actually, they detect face, enhance face, and rest of the body can be significantly different from face. Or that's the issue that I saw a lot of time and people wasn't happy with. And actually, AI automatically see like all skin on different race, different like color tones, and apply enhancement onto this area. And our goal was to create something which can produce great results and keep human pores, remove all like bigger problems or dark areas under the skin, but make skin much better. And there is a mount slider, and it's mostly for taste. Like actually, the farther you move, the more flat skin you'll get, and that you should stop where you think it's your like preferable result. And the AI does everything else. And there is a AI, like I can say, acne or blemishes removal. So actually, instead of using erase tool or clone and stamp tool, AI automatically analyze and do it for you. Actually, that's super simple. And but we still learn in AI. So we still try to teach AI work better, and we get in a lot of different inquiries how we can improve it, and we just get started. Actually, we right now we have a lot of really great positive results, but there is still some hard cases, and we strongly against any manual fine tuning for AI. Our goal, if you don't happy with results, you should send us image, and we will try and work it better in this case particular. So
I love that.
Nobody perfect, and we are not perfect sometimes, and we're gonna make it smarter and smarter and smarter. That's the way. It's like iPhone never had a exchangeable battery, but in general it makes your life a little bit easier. Mm-hmm. You don't care about like third-party batteries, just work, then you replace your phone. That's super simple, and this kind of simplicity actually is our core values. So we want to make something that will just work. And there is a portrait enhancer. So that was pretty tricky to create something which can produce the way how professional photographers touch faces. We don't want to get and build something that will produce very like funny or cheesy effects like a lot of mobile apps actually right now is doing. They produce some kind of result that you just get smile on it. It's not a high quality and professional results. And we made this portrait enhancer, and actually this technology is pretty smart. So you don't care about masking for face, for like eyes, for eyebrows. It does enhancement automatically. And for us was really critical to preserve all the pores and hair, even small one on your face, and produce something which will be very close to the professional retouch. And with these sliders, you can never go like too much. Everything is in the ranges that like professionals will love and appreciate. But it's not because they're professionals, they have some kind of taste sometimes. And like we wanna see results that can be accepted by magazines or high quality studios, and you can play around this and get only result that you'll be pleased with. And that's like our core values. It's not just to bring AI technologies on the table, but produce something great with it and automate process of skin and face retouching. And we have a lot much more other great thing that we will bring in to this area. Yes, in general, sometimes somebody say they Luminar doesn't have this and this, but we don't have this for a reason. I think not having feature is much better than having badly implemented or an old-fashioned feature. So yes, it took us much longer time than just to copy somebody else solution. But at the moment, right now, all the solution that exists on the market actually was invented like around 20 years ago. So
Yeah.
that's and the same solution moves from one software to another to another to another, and they just wrap it in the different user interfaces, but use even the same like marketing advertisement. And right now, like, oh my gosh, so there's like maybe 20 or 40 or 50 image editors. They quite the same. So our goal is to change the way how you edit images, and we may be not so fast with it, but all this such a things requires much more time, but the end result is much better than just using the old way to solve problems.
Of course, of course. And I realized now that as we've been talking about Luminar 4 and AI is kind of like has this stamp on it as if like you just bring it in and it's done. But Luminar 4 isn't like that. Now, while you can use obviously AI to say enhance the sky or use it to enhance a portrait, there is still flexibility, right? Like you can control how much I guess how far AI takes it in a certain direction. It's not like you just upload the photo, AI takes over, and then there's nothing that you can do, correct?
Yes, because right now everyone is artist, I think, and the photography is simplest form of art. It's very hard to learn how to paint or play music, but everyone can take photos. But if you take a look at the tutorials, there is so few tutorials on how to take photos or handle camera, and so many tutorials with retouching. And a lot of people like say, okay, I'll just take photo and retouching, and it's not for me. That's complex. Even the sport can like harm somebody's ears. So our goal is to bring very simple tools to create awesome images and photos. And we call this approach, as I told you before, like content-aware image editing. We want to build tool where you can see image and say, okay, I have a problem with the face. There is a tool for face. I have a problem with the sky. There is a tool for sky. I want to replace sky. Okay, that's the new sky. And in this way, stop thinking about there's a curves, blacks, whites. There's new layer. Change mode to overlay. No. That's not our way. Yeah, we have layers for sure, but our goal for future is to bring completely new tools that completely change the way how you do your photo editing and image editing.
I love it, and it's just so different. It feels refreshing, which is really fun because, as having been in photography for, 15 years now, sometimes it feels as if things can get a bit stale, and to see something new come along is really fun. It's refreshing. It's rejuvenating. So I've been having a blast playing around with it, and I know that the listeners are going to enjoy it as well. In fact, I made a kind of a tutorial for using Luminar 4 that I will post in the show notes of this episode. If anybody wants to check it out and some of the key features, that's going to be the place to find that. It's really, really interesting stuff. So before I let you go, can you share with me real quick, who is Luminar perfect for? Is it perfect for every photographer? Is it perfect for just a few photographers? Who is Luminar perfect for?
Actually, our goal as a company actually is to create best software for people who are actually interested in photo editing, and we call them artists, like photo artists. They actually not edit just photos to achieve like okay result to be posted somewhere, but they really want to express themselves as artists to create something that they can be proud of. And like our biggest mission is to make them happy. We don't want to build a software. We want to create tools that will make them happy. And when they're happy, we're happy too, actually. So that's and AI technologies is the way how we make them happy. And we decided how the ways how we want to make them happy. There's a two things that we want to do with Luminar. First is to bring superpowers for people who wanted their photos, like sky replacement. It was very complex. It's existing on the market a long time ago, even maybe from analog times, but we want to make it super simple. Second thing is new tools for creativity. People even may not ask, but we will bring them new cool tools so they can express themselves as artists in a simpler way. And third thing is fun to use. I think software should be fun to use. Right now we're on the track and we want to make something which people will love just to use, just to browse. I hate features. I love when people just having fun with software, and adjustment preferences. Deep think is not the way how you will enjoy software. So we will be much more awesome tools and much more like finer things to the software to make it less formal, to be your like photography friend on which you can rely. And we just think in this way, and we don't think about like any competition, thinking only about how we can benefit our customers and photographers around the world.
That's perfect. That is the perfect way to wrap up this this interview right here. Dima, before I let you go, rather, can you let the listeners know where they can find more about you or Luminar online?
Actually, they can visit our website or visit our Facebook group. That's super simple. Our website is skylum.com, and there you can find all information. All just like search for Skylum or Luminar in the Facebook, and they got all different informations. I have like very small my Instagram. It's called like Too Many Ways, but it's really rare updated because I really super busy. But that's just my personal small Instagram channel.
Perfect.
And yeah, but then I'm like I can say like there is a proverb like shoemaker without shoes. The same for me. Like I'm working on the tools, but I not benefit because I already had this sky replacement and I get amazing results. And I thought, oh, now I can make my Instagram channel super popular. Now I can change all of my photos, which is boring to amazing. I can get like sunset on from Mars. I can add great things that actually. By the way, sky replacement is a really awesome thing that you can use not just to replace sky, but to change your image completely. If you want, I can share you some fun thing that we made here in Skylum, and we just had a lot of jokes about what actually people can do in future with sky replacement.
Oh man, I would love to see that. I bet the opportunity is or the just all the things that you could do with it would be fantastic. So yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, Dima, again, thank you so much for coming on, sharing everything that you did, and giving us a little peek behind the curtain as far as what the future of editing is going to look like. So again, thank you so much, and I hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you for inviting me. It was great, and I hope your listeners will try Luminar and share their opinion how we can improve it, because it's only the way how you can be better is to see not just the positive side but the negative side, and listen to customers, what they need, what they want to achieve. And I really will be glad to hear any even the wildest dreams. Maybe, who knows, we can make them true, real.
One thing is clear to me after that interview. At least to me, it's that AI is not going to remove you or me as the photographer out of the equation. Because especially in the edit, I think AI is so new that we have a lot of concerns about it. We don't know where it's going, and it seems so powerful that, many think that AI is just going to replace all of us. And that's not what's going on here. AI is simply being used as another tool that honestly I'm excited to have. I'm really excited to have. My biggest takeaway was that, just like what Dima said, is that you can cheat with hardware too. I loved hearing how photographers back in the day used to say that cropping was cheating. Cropping your photo was cheating. Like, it's kind of the same. I get it. If it didn't come out of camera that way, then, it's cheating. But at the same time, is off-camera flash cheating? Is using a neutral density filter to add motion to a stream cheating? It's not. These things are just simply a tool, and a very powerful tool at that. So as I said earlier, I got something special for you. And Dima and the whole Skylum team, special shout out to Lilia and Jane for their help. They have created a special offer for you, the beautiful listeners of the Beginner Photography Podcast, if you want to try out Luminar, which again is a one-time payment, no monthly subscription. They hooked you all up with a $10 off coupon for when actually Luminar 4 was released today if you're listening to this. So just use the code BPP at checkout, and that will make the price, again, even lower, which is a no-brainer if you ask me. Again, I've had time to play with this, and this is powerful, powerful software, and I almost can't believe how cheap it already is. So if you want to check it out, you don't want a monthly subscription, definitely, I posted a link in the show notes of this episode. And to be completely transparent, it is an affiliate link, which means that I will receive a commission if you decide to purchase through the link, which is at no additional charge to you, but you will receive all of my appreciation. So again, that link is in the show notes, and the code for $10 off is BPP at checkout. That is BPP for Beginner Photography Podcast, if you didn't pick that up. But you're all very smart, and I know that you did. So check out the show notes. If you're in Apple Podcasts, you just swipe up. There's a link right there. Click that link, and then use code BPP at checkout for $10 off. So that is it. I think that there's going to be a lot of discussion about this in the Beginner Photography Podcast Facebook group, and honestly, I'm really excited to hear your thoughts, as this is a good one. This is a good one. So until next week, I want you to get out, keep shooting, stay safe, and focus on yourself. Love you all.
If you enjoyed today's podcast, please leave us a review in iTunes or your favorite podcast player, and continue the conversation with Raymond and other listeners of the podcast by joining the Beginner Photography Podcast Facebook group today. Thank you. We'll see you again next week.